Winnipeg, Manitoba, a city in the heart of Canada. But in the spring of 2022, a dark secret lay beneath its surface. A nightmare. The fear of a serial killer who brutally ended the lives of 4 women. This isn't just a crime story. This is a story of lost souls, systemic neglect, and one of Canada's deepest wounds, the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls crisis. The victims, they weren't just statistics, they were human beings. Rebecca Contois, 24, a member of Ochi-Chok-Kosipi First Nation, a mother. Morgan Harris, 39, from Long Plain First Nation, a mother of 5, a grandmother. Marcedes Myran, 26, also from Long Plain First Nation, a mother of 2. And Ashlee Shingoose, the young woman unidentified for so long, given the spirit name Mashkode Bijiki Ikwe, Buffalo Woman, by Indigenous elders so she wouldn't be lost in the spirit world. She was from St. Teresa Point First Nation. Between March and May 2022, these 4 women, in their most vulnerable moments, were targeted by a predator. Some were experiencing homelessness, all pushed to the margins of society, and all became victims of the same man, Jeremy Skibicki. So, who was Jeremy Skibicki? A man with a known history of violence towards partners who spread misogynistic, anti-Semitic, and white supremacist views online. He identified as a member of European nationalist groups, and it was believed he specifically targeted his victims because they were Indigenous. The horror surfaced in May 2022 when Rebecca Contois' partial remains were found in a garbage bin. Skibicki was quickly apprehended and charged with her murder. But during questioning, he confessed to more. He had killed 3 other women. The investigation entered a new agonizing phase. More of Rebecca's remains were found at the Brady Road landfill, but the bodies of Morgan Harris and Marcedes Myran were believed to be in another landfill, Prairie Green. Here, the tragedy deepened. Authorities were initially reluctant to search Prairie Green, citing dangers and costs. The families were devastated. They wanted to bring their loved ones home for a dignified burial. "I want to bring my girl home. Even just a piece of her would be good," said Marcedes' grandmother, Donna Bartlett. The community rose up. Protests were held. It became a political firestorm. The landfill search became a key issue in the Manitoba provincial election, and the party promising a search came to power. After months of uncertainty and struggle, the search at Prairie Green began, and in February 2025, the remains of Morgan Harris were found, followed by Marcedes Myran's in March 2025. It was a bittersweet moment for the families, a step towards justice, but the pain of their loss remained. Ashlee Shingoose's body is still missing. In court, Skibicki admitted to the killings but pleaded not criminally responsible, NCR. He claimed a diagnosis of schizophrenia and delusions of being on a mission from God, but experts noted that an NCR defense is rare in such planned, organized killings. The prosecution argued Skibicki acted on racist, misogynistic, and necrophilic urges. In July 2024, the verdict came. Judge Glenn Joyal rejected Skibicki's defense. He described him as a white supremacist acting upon his homicidal necrophilia who preyed upon and targeted his victims. Skibicki was found guilty of 4 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to 4 concurrent life sentences with no chance of parole for 25 years. This case isn't just the story of one serial killer. As Judge Joyal stated, it's emblematic of much of what is associated with the tragedies that underlie the very grim reality of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Canada. Winnipeg is one of the cities with the highest rates of MMIWG cases. Indigenous women, despite being a small percentage of the population, represent a disproportionately large number of victims of violence. The case also had political repercussions. The Red Dress Alert system, proposed by MP Leah Gazan, aims to provide emergency alerts for missing Indigenous women and girls and was passed in the House of Commons. but inadequate resources and systemic issues persist. Jeremy Skibicki is behind bars, but for the families of Rebecca, Morgan, Marcedes, and Ashlee, the pain isn't over. The fact that Ashlee remains missing prevents closure. This tragedy must not be forgotten. The names and stories of these women must be remembered. And most importantly, Canada must take concrete steps to break this horrific cycle of violence against Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. Thank you for watching. You can help raise awareness by sharing this story. If you or someone you know needs support related to the MMIWG crisis, please reach out to the resources shown on screen.